Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I should have already posted at least one Sephora video where I'm just chatting with you all about the items that I was considering picking up and sharing my thoughts on a few of the items that were already out. And so what I wanted to do in this video that's different from that one is share my top recommendation for makeup products in each of the categories that I typically use on a daily basis. And a lot of the, I was going to say a lot of the fragrances. Ooh, where's my mind? A lot of the products I have actually used on my look today. I did want to share with you all, I cut my hair a little bit. And so I probably cut off like, I don't know, maybe a full 3 inches of hair. And I'm kind of excited for my hair to look a little bit more vibrant at this point, maybe have a little bit more bounce. It was starting to get really sort of scraggly at the ends, because when your hair is thinning out, sidebar conversation, pardon the tangent. When your hair starts to thin out, the longer you allow it to get, the more sort of stringy it looks at the bottom. It's kind of hard to keep it looking full. So I feel like overall, this looks much healthier and better. Maybe I should have even cut another 2 or 3 inches off and brought it up here. We'll see. I mean, I'm not opposed to that in the future, but so far I like that I did cut some off. But anyway, let's get into this makeup. Are you shopping the Sephora sale? If not, that's okay. And if you want to hang out with us and just listen to the recommendations, even if you're not shopping, no problem. I'm a big Sephora shopper for those of you that are a little bit newer to the channel, and an Ulta shopper. I have diamond status at Ulta and rouge status at Sephora. I definitely give both places quite a chunk of change every year between my skincare, my fragrance, my hair care, and my makeup. I'm focusing just on makeup in this video. If you'd like to see a skincare and maybe hair care one, I'm happy to do that as well, but only if there's enough interest, because typically there isn't. So that's okay. Let's talk about what's on my face and then other recommendations. I have 2 per category. That is it. So I'm going to start off with primer. I don't always use primer, but if I'm going to have a long day of meetings and I know I'm going to be out that evening and go do something, I may put a primer on, or a long day of filming if I'm doing it here at the house. But a lot of these are like everyday products that I'm going to talk about. These are 2 very expensive primers. By the way, my recommendation for the Sephora sale overall, with little exception that I'm going to talk about today, is if you're going to get the 20% off, do it on products that are more expensive overall, where the 20% actually amounts to something. Like if you have a $10 product, and you're getting 20% off, that just brings it down to $8. Big whoop, right? At least this is the mentality for me. But if you're looking at a $100 product, 20% off then is $80, and it feels like a difference. So up to you to decide how you feel about the discounts, but that's how I look at things. That said, both of these primers are rather pricey. My number one holy grail primer now that I resisted buying for a long time because it's stupid expensive for a freaking primer. But when I tell you this is my favorite and it works and it leaves my base of my face looking and feeling fantastic all day long, it's this one from Tom Ford. This is the Traceless Soft Matte Primer. Let me pump out just a little bit here. I think it's sitting out on the Sephora site if you're in the US at $80 for this. But I use this the most. When I reach for primer, this is the one that I'm typically reaching for. Here is the general consistency. It has a little bit of a thickness to it. It's not slippery at all. And I feel like it really fills in pores without giving me an unrealistic blur. So I don't have any filters on this video right now. Typically, I'll put on one of the filters that blurs the background, but focuses on my face. I don't do filters on my face. Maybe one day I will, but I don't, and I haven't. So anyway, this is my skin with makeup on top, of course, but you can still see my natural skin texture, but it's just like ever so slightly smoothed out by this primer from Tom Ford. And what I really love is that then makeup sits beautifully over it. Like it just feels like a nice canvas overall. The other primer that I really like and is in a close second is this Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. So nice packaging too, very pretty. This one has a little bit more slip to it. It's not quite as thick and balmy maybe as the Tom Ford. You see it goes on with a little bit of shine. It just, it does dry down without that, but it has more slip if that's something that you're looking for. Liquid silk, I mean, it feels like that. And it also just does a nice job of putting down a base layer for the rest of your makeup to go on. These 2 are sort of holy grail. If you're looking for a more matte look, this Tom Ford one is going to do it for you. Next, I usually will go in with a concealer. Sometimes I do a little bit of under eye prep I hadn't planned to put this in the video, but let me just show you what I have been using. I have a couple of products that I'll use for that, and I didn't use this today. I'm wishing that I had, but this is from Rare Beauty. I forget what this thing is called. I'll put this on the screen, but I think it's like a luminizer or something like that. It's not intended to be a concealer, although some people use it like that. It's got the little metal ball. I feel like this just adds a little bit of base layer and does a tiny bit of color correction under the eyes before you put your concealer in. Some people use it as concealer, which I don't understand because I feel like it's too thin for that, but that's fine. To each their own. My recent current Holy Grail concealer, and I probably have maybe 5 or 6 concealers that I rotate through, but my top recommendation for the sale is the Hourglass concealer that looks like this. I have mine in the color Sienna. I think this is 6.5. It's what I'm wearing today. It is thick and emollient. You don't need a lot. Let me show you the texture of this thing. I'll do it here. You really only need just a dot or two. Don't do this thing where you're like slathering it on. It's going to take forever to work it out. And again, we're going for soft everyday look. So that is the color 6.5. It blends in quite nicely. You see it has a little tiny bit of luminosity to it to keep it looking natural. So there you go. Of course, the one area I decide to put it on is my most like wrinkled area of my hand that has the most lines. And so now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to make my under eye look horrible. No, you'll be fine. But anyway, this is one of my favorites. I reach for this first over everything else. And then a recent favorite is the Gucci one. Cute packaging with the little flowers on top. This is called the Multi-Use Longwear Concealer. It's supposed to be buildable. Mine is in the color 37 Warm, 37W. That color looks like that. This one, the Gucci one, is a little bit drier of a formula. It's not quite as emollient as the Hourglass, and it dries down very sort of matte on your skin. So you need to like that. If you have very dry under eyes and you want something a little more emollient, this may not help you. But I like that it goes on, it stays put, it does not move during the day, and it does a nice job of blurring any imperfections. And so I would say it's medium to full coverage, whereas the Hourglass is pretty full coverage, as you see on my eyes right now. And I only used a little bit of the Hourglass today. I didn't go in heavy on it. So then next I will usually apply my foundation. I said 2, but I'm going to share 3 recommendations with you. What I have on my face is the Givenchy Prisma Libre Glow Serum Foundation. This stuff is amazing. I have mine in the color 4.5W, which is warm. So that is my foundation of the day. I feel like it's fairly skin-like. This particular shade is rather warm, as denoted by the W on the number. If you don't know that, by the way, because I did it for a long time, I was like, what do all these letters mean? Like when I first started dabbling in foundation, W is for warm, C is for cool tone, N is for neutral. If you're not sure what you are, maybe try a neutral or see if you can go in and get a sample in the store. I don't think they do samples anymore. You just have to sort of try them out. They have them out for you to try. You know, if you're not sure what your undertone is, go into a Sephora, go into an Ulta, have one of the sales associates work with you and ask for someone who understands foundation and have them test some on you and see what is closest, what seems to match most with your general skin tone. Most people are rosy pinky, neutral or olive is in the middle, and then warm tone leans to like goldish or peachy side. If you've taken art classes, you understand what that undertone thing is. And if you haven't, it feels like a foreign science that you'll never understand. So just have someone in the store help you figure out what your undertones are. But this one, as you see, it's medium coverage to full coverage. I feel like it looks rather natural on my skin. Like I don't feel like I have a lot of foundation caked on with this Givenchy one. To me, it's one of the more natural foundations, and you can still see a lot of my texture, yet it evens out. It's enough coverage to even out color and tone overall and serve as a nice canvas for everything else. This is a very, very top recommendation for me. I will also say I am enjoying the new Natasha Denona High Glam foundation. So as a newer foundation, it's not going to be on sale as often. I don't know if Natasha Denona is going to do, you know, a site-wide sale or whatever. But anyway, at 20% off, this is a great deal. It's supposed to be hydrating and blurring longwear radiant serum foundation. This to me is very similar to the Givenchy. It has a little bit more radiance to it, although deeper into the wear, it gets a little bit more on the matte side. Very, to me, medium to full coverage, maybe leaning on the full coverage side, whereas the Givenchy is more in the medium space. I mean, you can layer stuff up to whatever you want, right? But this is a nice wet formula, if you will. Like it does dry down, it sets down, but it comes on very sort of hydrating and it feels good on the skin. It moves nicely during the day with your regular skin. I found that this did not sort of like settle into fine lines or anything like that. I really enjoy this. Let me show you what this looks like on me. I have mine in the color NP10, which I think stands for neutral leaning peach. I'll just do a little dab here. So that's the color as it comes out. Let me let this dry down for a bit. I'll be back in just a second, which is really probably about a minute later in YouTube land. Okay, so this is fairly dried down and you see that it's still giving a lot of sort of luminosity and radiance. And it's pretty full coverage. I mean, like you can see my veins there, but you can't see it under the foundation. So in that sense, it's pretty full coverage while still having a nice natural look. I really, really give a nice big thumbs up to this. And I kind of like this funky packaging. This is little stuff that makes a difference for me, but this curved edge on the back is just fun to handle. And then I want to give a shout out to a newer one that I've only had the chance to wear 1.5 times. Half in that I was playfully trying it on to see if I would like it. But this is the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. Mine is in the color 4N1 Ginger. Love this. I find like it's very similar to the other two in some ways. I find that this is another one that's very skin-like, very easy to wear. It moves with your skin. It doesn't settle into fine lines, and it's got medium to full coverage as well. So I really like those 3 for foundations lately. I typically apply my foundation with a damp sponge. Like I'll wet the sponge, I'll wring all the water out of it. I'll put the foundation on my face, dab it around, and then go in with the flat end of a sponge. Like this one is a Real Technique sponge. I'll go in with this flat edge and pat it into my skin and make sure there aren't any distinct lines showing. And for me, because I have like places where as a teenager, I picked up my face. Like some people ask me, did you have a nose ring? I never had a nose ring, but you can see here where I have a little hole in my skin from just messing with my face as a teenager. This kind of sponge really allows you to like get in there so that it doesn't look like you have pores that are sticking out or looking like dark and weird under your foundation. Like it blends. I find that the sponge allows you to blend the foundation into your pores more. So next, I will typically powder my face just a little bit. Some days I don't powder at all, but you know, because I'm working, like I'm at my desk all day through like dinner time-ish, I don't have time to like go do touch-ups on makeup and all of that during the day. So I do like to do a little bit of powder. I'm a super oily gal. Like I'm powdered now, but you can see my natural oils breaking through. They always do. And I kind of welcome them to. By the way, I do a lot of dewy moisturization under my makeup all the time. So I'm not like mattifying my skin before applying foundation and so forth and the primer and foundation. I put on like the Bobbi Brown, this one, this face base or something like it that is just as moisturizing, emollient. I kind of like that. So I enjoy having a glowy looking face, but there's only so much glow a girl can tolerate. Sometimes you need just a little bit of powder. And so I have a lot of powder recommendations. For today, I'll just stick to 2. One is this Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. I have mine in the color 3 Neutral Peach. What I like about this is it's very finely milled, it's lightweight, and it has just a touch of pearlescence in it. Let me see if I can show this on screen. It's not going to show up here, but you know, in person, it has just ever so slight pearlescence, like light reflecting particles that allow the light to bounce off of your skin in a very natural looking way. So in terms of a natural powder, it's hard to beat this by Mario one. And then the powder that I have on today is from Givenchy. These were, I think, newer last year. The packaging is a little bit on the fussy side for me. Like you have to do all this. And I don't like when they come with brushes because I never use them, but here you go. And I have mine in the color 04. This is the Prisma Libre 4-color pressed powder. So the idea is that all these different tones help to, I guess, sort of like even out the tone on your face. So I'll just put a big powder brush in there. This is the powder brush that I use today, this Refer 25. It's huge. I just literally just swirl it all around and then kind of like, what I will do with my powder is just do like a quick, very light touch all around the face, and then I'll go back in and blend it in all over. This is before I do my blush and my bronzer. Some people do it the other way. And you can powder before and after, whatever you want to do. You experiment and see what works for your skin. But I enjoy this as a very sort of subtle powder effect. You can see it more pronounced on my nose. My nose is very matte right now. By the way, I also have the Hourglass concealer on my nose. Then I put foundation on, then I put this. So that's a lot of layers. Hopefully everything will stay in place nicely. But if you can believe it, I am even oilier than what you're seeing on the screen without powder. Like I just look like an oil slick. Anyway, there's a time and a place for that, but not always. So I enjoy that for like a subtle effect that has like a bit of a blur, and it's a very sort of elegant powder. So I really enjoyed these two. I like the Huda powders, the baking powders. You know, these ones are super popular. I have Pound Cake in another color here. I still have my Hourglass Veil powder. This is a holy grail for me. I do like the One Size powder. It is very, very occlusive in some ways. Like this powder means business. This is like drag queen strength powder. I like this YSL Touche Éclat all over glow for like a finishing touch. I have the Givenchy Prisma Libre Radiance Loose Powder. I've got a lot of powders and I really like them all. The Hourglass powders, which I'll talk about in a minute. But you know, just in terms of recommending something that people probably aren't talking about as much during this Sephora sale, I think the Givenchy newer one and then this Makeup by Mario are good staples to have. So then I will typically bronze up, and I have a lot of bronzers. It's one of my favorite categories along with foundation, but I will recommend two, and it is the Dior Forever Nude Bronze. This one is in the color 30 Tan Matte. I like that it's huge. I don't love the covers. People love these. It's called the Canage style. It's supposed to mimic their bags. I don't like fabric on my makeup products. I prefer sleek surfaces. Like this Makeup by Mario, I like it, you know, because it's sleek. And I'll show you another product that I think is super sleek. The packaging kind of wins it for me. But anyway, neither here nor there. I don't love the squishy thing here, but I do like this huge pan. So this is a really lovely color. It's nice and matte and it's subtle, yet it does a great job of warming up the perimeter of my face. So this is what I have on today. I took a big bronzing brush and kind of drew it up my face, all around the perimeter, under my chin, down my neck, and a little bit down the sides of my nose. Love this stuff, really, really good. The other bronzer that I'm obsessed with, I have them in both colors, is the Tom Ford one. Stupid expensive, but oh my gosh, do I love this for a natural airbrushed look. And I like the compact. It feels really luxe, this sort of gold banding, the touch of it. This one is in the color Terra 04. I think this is the only one that is on the Sephora website. Really a luxe bronzer, worth every penny. And if you can get it in the color, I think it's Gold Dust. I have that in the other room. That's also a beautiful color. I think this one is a little bit more reddish undertone, and then the Gold Dust is a little bit more gold undertone. But a beautiful, beautiful color, particularly if you are medium tone like me or lighter. These are fantastic. I don't know that these would show up really well on more, you know, chocolate skin. If you do have more darker brown skin and you use these, let us know if they work for you. But my sense is that they would be better on medium skin tones to a little bit lighter, maybe not the fairest of the fair. This will be too dark for that. All right, then typically I will go in with eyeshadow, and I have two recommendations, a new one and then an oldie but a goodie. As I mentioned in the other Sephora video, I was not planning on purchasing these. In fact, when these first came out, spoiler alert, it's Natasha Denona. But when they first came out, I actually texted one of my YouTube buddies and said, I'm marking myself safe from the Natasha Denona eyeshadows because I looked at them and I thought, oh my gosh, I've got those colors in spades in other palettes. Why would I need those? Well, I went in store and actually played in them, you know, swatched and thought, ugh, why did I do that? Because now I love them both. So these are the new Natasha Denona Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palettes. I only have the one. The other one is on the way. So I ended up picking up the dramatic one. I'm going to show you this in a minute. There's one called Soft that is softer colors. If you're a makeup person, you've seen these all over YouTube. Well, people are not lying. The component feels really good in hand. It's just a nice size where it's not too huge and it's not too small. Let me show you. Okay, so if you're a fan of Natasha Denona, you know that these are her big size palettes. So this is smaller than that. And then she has the midi palettes. And so here, that's a size comparison. Same sort of thickness, if that matters to you. But I just like it. I like that it fits in hand. I like that it's white and has this sort of clear thing. Like the aesthetic of this, I think is really pleasant. But look at this color story. Oh my gosh, this is what I have on my eyes today. Bada bing, bada boom. So the idea of these palettes, and then I'll pop up a picture of the soft one, is that each row speaks to a different undertone. So you could ideally use a row for a whole look. For today's look, I used this row here with these two colors. I combined these two and this whole row. This sort of yellowy, mustardy ochre color is the background of my eye. And then I put this lighter goldy color on the inner corner. I took this color to deepen in the crease. I took this color to deepen it in even further. And this color is the sort of like orangey, peachy color there. By the way, I also combined these two darker colors to just deepen out the outside. It looks more dramatic in person than in this light. And that's kind of just the way that it goes. But I love this look. This is like, I could wear this type of look every day. You know, this is my color story here. I look best in either neutrals or these warm tones. I look fine in cool tones too. I can rock a cool tone look. I don't know what it is about my skin color that allows me to rock all three kinds, but my preferred look, I always feel like I look much better, more myself and more glam in these tones, warm tones. This is warm overall, even though some of these could be considered neutral, and maybe like this is a little bit more cool tone. This is a little more cool tone. But you know, generally I can rock like this kind of palette really well. These colors are beautiful. They swatch so lovely. They're very pigmented. You only need a little bit. Don't go in with heavy, don't be digging your brush into these. Tap lightly, tap off the excess, and start off ever so lightly with like the lightest touch. Let me show you what I'm talking about so you know what I mean. Let me try to do this quickly for you all so you get a sense. Let me use this color here, which is mostly what's through the crease. And I'm going to take a big, like crease brush like this. This is the Refer 27. So let me just tap in fairly decently. You see how the brush is fully loaded up? If I don't tap off, you get immediate deep pigment like that. My recommendation is to tap lightly, get any excess off, which a lot of excess won't come off because it's not powdery. They're almost like creamy shadows, and just ever so lightly. There you go. Get yourself a little dusting of color, like Bob Ross it. Give it the Bob Ross treatment versus this like over here on this side. Airbrush it out ever so lightly. Treat yourself to a light coating of the eyeshadow like this versus this, which can give you really harsh lines and then be really difficult to blend out. Sometimes people don't like the Natasha Denona shadows because they find them hard to work with. And I find oftentimes that those people are going in too hard. But these shadows last all the live long day. Do you hear me? All the live long day on your eyes. Love this. So I've used this several times now and I'm in love. Love the magnetic packaging and the ease of this. It's got a little weight, but it's easy enough to handle. So I can't speak highly enough about this packet. And I'm mad at myself that I almost missed out on it because I'm like, I don't need any more Natasha Denona shadows. I have them all. Can you really have too much Natasha Denona? Yes, you can. I have way too much. But I love them all. Okay, the other recommendation for eyeshadow from Sephora, I want to know what you all think about the Hung Van Gogh shadows. I haven't made up my mind on whether I'm going to pick up the neutral one. I want the neutral one if I pick up anything. I think I'm going to pass on the warm because let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something. This shadow here, this to me is everything you would need for a warm look. Like I don't need any other warm shadows. I have 1001 warm eyeshadow palettes, but I'm just saying, I don't need anything, but I don't need the new Hung Van Gogh one, especially because I feel like that formula is reliable, the Natasha Denona. And I haven't heard any other complaints about that eyeshadow palette that I've heard about the Hung Van Gogh ones not lasting long or maybe having a little bit too much powderiness or kick up. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I wanted to recommend something a little bit smaller for those of you that like the simplicity of tiny palettes like I do. I am in tiny palette heaven these days. And so I got to give it to the Charlotte Tilbury quads. These are called, I guess they call it just the luxury palettes. And there are two shade color stories in particular that I would recommend if you have like my color skin tone or you're warm toned. This one is called Golden Goddess. Let me swatch these for you. So that is the Golden Goddess palette right there swatched. Very pretty. You can keep it subtle or you can really jazz it up and like go ham with these. They don't have kick up. They're really beautiful. They lay down nicely. They're elegant yet impactful, which I really, really like. This bottom color here is this one. What is it? No, I'm sorry. It is this one. And it's a little bit more like a topper, like a little chunkier. So you can put that on top of the other colors if you want, or wear it by itself for a little bit of a more subtle shadow. This is gorgeous. You can do every day out of this if you keep it light, or it can glam up for nighttime. Fits in your purse, super easy. And then I also really love Uptown Girl. Here's that color story. So this is a cooler color story like I was mentioning. Let me swatch these for you. So there's that color story. And I mean, that's pretty glam too. You can also do a subtle everyday look. I've worn this for work days. I've done like this on the lid, that through the crease, maybe that in the outer corner, and a hit of that in the middle, and just kept it really light and simple. And you can jazz it up, like deepen it up for an evening look. Very, very nice palettes. Those are my top two color stories. The Pillow Talk one with the pinky tones was, of course, much more popular than those, and people like those a lot. I, have to be in the mood for pink tones on my eyes. I wear them, they look fine, but my preferred tones are first and foremost these sort of more sultry colors from the Golden Goddess. And then if you want a cool tone look, it's hard to beat this Uptown Girl. These are really, really lovely. I will typically finish out my eyes mostly because I want to put my mascara on and allow it to dry before I do the rest of my face, so that when I'm done, I can do like a setting spray. So in terms of eyeliner, sometimes I'll just take a shadow. Like, that's the lovely thing about having a palette like this dramatic one from Natasha Denona. You can take any one of these three and use a thin brush, like, something that has a really thin edge like that, dip it in, make sure you take the excess off, and just kind of stamp it along your lash line if you want a subtle integrated look that isn't a harsh line like what I have on right now. And sometimes you want a little bit of dramatic impact like this. And so what I'm wearing right now, and this has been a staple, this is the Huda Beauty Creamy Kohl eyeliner. And this is in the color black. I think she has a brown one as well. And it stays. It's very easy to put on, smooth, and then it sets down and dries, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, one of my favorite eyeliners right now is the Victoria Beckham Kajal ones, but this isn't sold at Sephora. So this Huda one does well. And if you want to save yourself even more money, the Sephora 12-hour retractable ones are great. And you get 30% off of these if you're, at any tier, you get that. I have this one in the color brown. I had it in black, and I used up the black. So that's the deep brown color, which is nice. Then I will usually do my eyelashes. I don't have any false lashes on because I wanted you to see the mascara that I have on and the effect that it has on my eyelashes. So my two main ones right now, one is the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water one. I think this is a tubing mascara, if I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of having a little bit of trouble with tubing mascaras. I might be mixing this up with the Kofi one, which I also have, which I like a lot. This is definitely a tubing mascara. And what that means is that it coats your eyelash. The reason I have a little bit of a challenge is because at night when I then go in to take my makeup off, I use like 3 steps. And one of them is a cleansing balm, like an oily cleansing balm. It's very messy to take them off. They're supposed to actually be easier, like just come off, slip off with a little bit of hot water, and they do. But anyway, then I have all these little tube messes. Do you use a tubing mascara, and have you figured out how to take it off? But anyway, this is what I have on right now. What's nice is that it does nicely coat your eyelashes and it holds them up. My other holy grails that I don't have in here, and I haven't used in a while because I've been rotating through others. I have a second recommendation for you, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the Pat McGrath Dark Star Volumizing Mascara. Freaking phenomenal for giving you, it's a lot like a drier formula, but it gives you super volume and length and all of that. There's another one that the name I'm forgetting, so forgive me. Let me just go to my second recommendation. I am loving the Bobbi Brown Smoky Eye Mascara. I'm not going to open this because this is a new tube. I've gone through 2 tubes of this already. This is tube number 3. I have tube number 4 on backup, and tube number 5 is coming in the mail. But this is a nice hourglass wand, and it's a little bit of a drier formula like the Pat mascara, and does such a nice job of coating your lashes, lifting and holding in place with no fallout, no flaking, nothing. Fantastic. Of the 2, I would recommend the Bobbi Brown Top Notch, followed closely by this Cali Ray one. I don't have a lot to say about eyebrows. Everybody's really, fussy about their eyebrows. I still haven't perfected my own eyebrow game. I'm not even really happy with my eyebrows today because I always have like a harsh inner line, but we're living with it. Today I'm wearing the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This is in the color Soft Brown. So I do put a little bit of a tail on the end and fill in a lot right here because they're sparse. But I also then coat it with the Kosas Air Brow. This is in like medium brown or something. Yep, the color medium brown. So I take that and run it through my eyebrows. I don't fuss too much about my eyebrows. You know, they are what they are, but these are kind of holy grails that I use all the time. Then I'll go in to do my cheeks and my lips. So 2 cheek recommendations. I don't have these on today, but for a subtle, beautiful, airbrushed, natural look, it is really hard to beat the Dior blushes. Here's one thing I don't like. I don't mind the packaging. The packaging's fine. I really, really hate that they come with these stupid applicators. I don't use them. I feel like that is a waste of space. I don't even know why I keep these little plastic things on, but I do. So anyway, the blush itself is spectacular. It's really, really subtle. This one is in the color Charnel Satin. And it is just like the most adorable, simple flush look right here. You see how subtle that is? I mean, I'm not putting on a lot, but very, very subtle, easy color to wear. Highly recommend this one. And the other color that I own is Rose Montaigne, I think it's called. This is a shimmer one. It's the color 219, Rose Montaigne. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly instead of Montagne or Montagne. I don't know. But here is that color. Isn't that so pretty? It reminds me a little bit of the NARS Orgasm. But it's just these are very, very subtle shadows. You know, these are great in person because of that. They're not harsh. They don't have harsh lines. They feel and look natural on the skin. Like your skin is just naturally flushed with that color. Very pretty. Highly recommend the Dior blushes. People don't really talk about them. In fact, I didn't even think about these until I saw Michelle Wong talk about and demonstrate these. And then I fell in love when I purchased them myself. And then if you like a little bit more impact, a little bit more punch, 2 that I really enjoy, well, a formula that I really enjoy, and then I have 2 colors that I wanted to show you, are the House Labs one. You know, this packaging is pretty simple, but I don't dislike it. I have 2 colors, and these are what I'm wearing today, both of them. I first put on Fire Moon. If that is not a beautiful, kind of neutral leaning, warm, natural, like earthy color. So that is what is on my cheek. And then I also put a little bit of this Pomelo Peach ever so slightly over the top. In fact, let's put a little bit more on because can you have too much blush on? Yes, you can. But I'm gonna add a little bit more for you today. So the darker color, Fire Moon, let's just kind of add on. And my best advice for blush is tapping on. I just put on a little too much right there, but that's okay. Tap, tap ever so lightly. And then with the lightest hand, don't do what I just did and like smash it into your skin. Give it a light tap. Don't do like all this swirly, swirly stuff. So that is Fire Moon. And I'm going to put a little bit of that Pomelo Peach ever so lightly, just right on top in that little section there, to add a little bit of brightening at the top. I love it. I love it. So these are beautiful, very pigmented, and she's got a nice range. House Labs is the Lady Gaga brand. So beautiful colors. Okay, then my top recommendations for lip liner is the Makeup by Mario one. I have these in a ton of colors. I have it on today, and is this the color that I put on? I don't remember which color I put on. I ordered more. So in total, I'm going to have like 5 or 6 of these. Love these. They're really, really good. And then I would also recommend the Huda Lip Contour. The Makeup by Mario ones last longer. They're this nice combination of being both dry and like creamy and emollient, and have some good lasting power and serve as a great base for your lips overall. If you want to put this on and like a lip gloss over it, great choice. And then the other one that I would recommend is the Huda Beauty Lip Contour. These are beautiful. This is in the color Sandy Beige. Look at that. Let me put some of that on today. Ooh, love it. I always do a little bit of overlining. These are super creamy. I would also highly recommend the color Warm Brown and Terracotta if you like warm tones. They nailed it with those 2. Those are my favorite. My challenge with the Huda Beauty one is because it's so creamy, it's also like slippery and then tends to fade off as you're eating. The Makeup by Mario one has a little bit more lasting power. I will tell you, they're stupid expensive. They're really, really hard to rub off though. So if your primary interest, I'm about to recommend something else, is a lip liner that will not budge, you need the Tom Ford ones. You really do. These are no joke. This is the color 105 A-list. And then I have like a lighter one, but these are really hard to rub off. Whereas this one erodes a little bit quicker. So, but I didn't recommend the Tom Ford because they are so expensive for what they are. And I think you can get a lovely experience from the Mario and the Huda Beauty ones. So then I have a lot of lipstick recommendations, but I'm going to keep it to 2, which is so hard because I'm a lipstick junkie. I'm going to go with the NARS Explicit Lipstick line. They look like this. The packaging is really nice, simple, sleek, and they have so many beautiful tones. I'm wearing the color Liaison today. Which is like a nearly like brown, nudie, peachy with a hint of pink, which is a strange choice because of this warm shadow look, but it just works with this. I have this in probably 6 or 7 colors. I want to pick up a couple of more in the red tones. I love that they have a little bit of shimmer to them. They're creamy, decently wearing. I mean, you do have to touch these up when you eat and so forth, but it's an easy formula that moves nicely, applies well, and just feels really natural, like natural beauty on the skin. Love these. They don't fail me. The other more serious recommendation, and these are pricier, but gosh, are they worth it? They're the Gucci lipsticks. You can choose the matte formula. I think they have a satin formula, but I have most of mine in matte. This is the color Ginger. I'm going to put it on right over that. These are creamy, dreamy, long-lasting, stay put, gorgeous. I have pinks. I have neutrals. I have warm ones. I have red ones. I have punchy colors like orangey colors. I adore these Gucci lipsticks. They are worth every freaking penny. They swatch very nicely. I mean, super pigments. That's the Gucci one compared to the NARS Explicit, which as you see is a little bit more subtle, right? Natural looking. Impact though with the Gucci. The impact on the Gucci is phenomenal. The Gucci lipsticks are, if you want bang for your buck in the Sephora sale, probably one of my top recommendations to stack up on if you're a lipstick junkie and want your lipstick to look beautiful all day. Like you don't want to play with your lipstick. So then I have one setting spray and then a bonus recommendation that will be no surprise. You know, setting spray is setting spray. Everybody likes something different. The one size one I think is beautiful. I'm about to run out of this. Maybe I should order a full one. I also think that the Fenty Beauty one is really lovely. This is called Makeup Extending Setting Spray You Mist. This one has a little bit of sheen to it. It's like a lighter spray. It's subtle. It's like you're nourishing your face after a spa treatment or something. This one, the one size, is like a hairspray for your face. It ain't going nowhere. This one is a little bit more subtle but impactful. Really nice setting sprays if you even use setting spray. And then I'm going to end with the bonus that everyone's talking about. No surprise here. But I do love the Hourglass Holiday Palettes. I, unlike other people, am not as enamored with the artwork this year. I think it's okay. These, I know it's a tattoo artist that did these. They're okay. I don't like them or dislike them. They're just fine. So anyway, I got the Swan and I got the Deer. I actually was thinking about getting the Fox palette because it's deeper tones, which I love, and warmer tones that I can use for eyeshadow. And I may still pick it up. You just never know what kind of wild hair I'm going to get. But the Deer palette is for our more pale-toned friends, our fairer colored friends. And they all look different, like in terms of the configuration. So this has some finishing powders here. This is a very, very light bronzer that doesn't really do much for me. I kind of use it as a base for like eyeshadow sometimes. And then the 2 blushes, and this is supposed to be the strobe finishing powder. I used a different highlighter here. I used the one out of this palette, the Swan palette. It looks like this. The reason I don't bother like swatching these is because that's not where the joy is. The joy isn't actually applying it to your face and seeing how it looks. So I have this strobe lighting powder on. It's like a highlighter. You see that little like highlight right there? And also under the eyes, ever so subtly. It's that. Beautiful. The blushes are gorgeous. The bronzer is beautiful. The finishing powder is divine. These are gorgeous. They really, really are. You know, if you don't like Hourglass powders, you're not going to care about these, but if you understand the magic of them and enjoy them, these are fantastic choices. So that's it. I have 1,001 more recommendations, but I promised myself I was only going to stick to 2 in every category. I broke the rule with the 3 foundations, but it was really hard not to talk about all 3 of these beautiful ones. Listen, I hope you enjoy shopping the sale. Let me know what you're planning to pick up down below. If you have any questions about any products that I've tried, I'm happy to answer them. And I hope that this was helpful for you. And if nothing else, entertaining, or you just enjoyed hanging out with me today. See you in the next video. Take care, friends.